In Chapter 14, we will begin exploring the art of the ancient world. These works were created thousands of years ago, yet they still influence how we understand art, culture, and human history. Ancient art gives us an insight into religious beliefs, political power, social structures, and daily life. Many ancient civilizations are long gone, but their art continues to survive and communicate across time. Why do you think art often survives long after the cultures that created it disappear? Possible answers might include durable materials like stone or the importance societies place on preserving cultural heritage. Noddle suggests that even when religions or cultures disappear, their art continues to inspire later generations. This idea reminds us that art is one of the most powerful forms of cultural memory. The earliest art was created during the Paleolithic period, also called the Old Stone Age. These early humans were hunter-gatherers who created art connected to survival and spirituality. Common forms include cave paintings, carved figurines, and decorative tools. Look at figure 14.1. These cave paintings were created roughly 16,000 years ago in Lascaux, France. The animals depicted included bulls, horses, and deer. Scholars believe these images may have been connected to hunting rituals or spiritual beliefs. Artists used natural pigments such as charcoal and iron oxide. Why do you think animals appear so frequently in prehistoric cave paintings? Look at figure 14.2. This small stone figurine dates to about 28,000 to 25,000 BCE. It exaggerates certain body features such as the breast and hips. Many scholars interpret these figures as fertility symbols. They may have represented ideas of fertility, survival, and motherhood. Why might fertility have been such an important theme for early human societies? During the Neolithic period, humans began farming and living in permanent settlements. This shift led to the construction of large architectural monuments. Stonehenge is one of the most famous prehistoric monuments. It was built in stages over many centuries. Scholars believe it may have served as a ceremonial site, an astronomical calendar, or a burial site. The stone align with the sunrise during the summer solstice. Why might ancient societies build monuments aligned with astronomical events? The first major civilizations developed in Mesopotamia, the region between Tigris and the Euphrates rivers. These societies developed writing systems, complex governments, and monumental architectures. Look at 14.4a. This temple sits on a raised platform called a ziggurat. Ziggurats elevated temples above the city, symbolically bringing them closer to the gods. Alright, let's look at figure 14.5. These small statues were placed in temples as votive offerings. Their large eyes symbolize eternal watchfulness towards the gods. Why might worshippers place statues of themselves inside these temples? Alright, so look at figure 14.6. This relief sculpture shows King Naram-Sin victorious in battle. Notice how the king is depicted larger than the other figures. This technique is called hierarchical scale, which indicates importance. Alright, look at figure 14.7. This stone stele records one of the earliest written laws. At the top, Hammurabi receives authority from the sun god Shamash. This imagery reinforces the idea that the king's power comes from divine approval. Why might rulers link their authority to religious beliefs? Egyptian civilization developed along the Nile River. Egyptian art remained remarkably consistent for thousands of years. It emphasized permanence, order, and religious beliefs about the afterlife. This ceremonial object commemorates the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt. It also introduces the visual style that dominates Egyptian art. Figures are shown using a composite view, heads and legs in profile, torso facing forward. Let's look at this statue. This sculpture represents Pharaoh Khafra seated on a throne. The stone material, diorite, was extremely hard and durable. The rigid pose emphasizes eternal power and authority. Now let's look at figure 14.12. These pyramids served as tombs for Egyptian pharaohs. They reflect the belief that rulers would continue to exist in the afterlife. The massive scale of the pyramids demonstrates the power of the Egyptian state. Ask yourself, why might rulers build enormous monuments for themselves? Okay, in figure 14.13, we can see this temple that honors Queen Hatshepsut, one of the few female pharaohs. Its terraces blend with the surrounding cliffs, creating a harmonious architectural design. In the 14th century BCE, Pharaoh Akhenaten introduced major religious reforms. He promoted the worship of a single god, the sun deity Aten. This period also introduced a more naturalistic artistic style. Look at figure 14.14. This sculpture of Queen Nefertiti is famous for its elegance and realism. The smooth surface and balanced proportions reflect advanced sculptural techniques. Let's look at the difference of figure 14.15. Unlike earlier Egyptian art, this relief shows a more intimate family scene. The figures appear relaxed and natural. This reflects the artistic changes of the Amarna period. Let's look at figure 14.16. Tutankhamun's golden coffin demonstrates the wealth of Egyptian royal burials. Gold symbolized divine power and eternal life. Figure 14.17. The Rosetta Stone allowed scholars to decipher Egyptian hieroglyphs. It contains the same text written in 3 languages. This discovery revolutionized our understanding of Egyptian history. Ask yourself, why is the ability to translate ancient languages important for historians? The prehistoric cultures of the Aegean region include Cycladic, Minoan, Mycenaean civilizations. These cultures developed advanced art and architecture long before classical Greece. Let's look at this sculpture in figure 14.19. These marble figures are extremely simplified. Their geometric shapes influenced many modern artists in the 20th century. Let's look at this painting, 14.20. This painting from the Palace of Knossos shows a ritual athletic event. The fluid movement and bright colors reflect the lively culture of the Minoans. Look at figure 14.22. This gold mask was placed over the face of a deceased ruler. It demonstrates the wealth and craftsmanship of Mycenaean society. Now let's look at this artwork from prehistoric African art. This rock painting from the Sahara Desert shows a dynamic human form. It reflects a time when the region was much more greener than today. Ancient civilization also developed in China and the Indus River Valley. These cultures produced sophisticated art, architecture, and urban planning. Let's look at figure 14.24. This extremely thin pottery demonstrates the technical skill of Longshan artisans. Now let's look at figure 14.25. Bronze vessels were used in ritual ceremonies honoring ancestors. They often feature elaborate animal motifs. Now let's look at figure 14.26. The Indus Valley River demonstrates early urban planning. The city included organized streets, drainage systems, and public baths. Ask yourself, why might urban planning be important for large civilizations?